Okay, so you are here and you're wondering what the heck should be the length for my nonfiction book. Should it be shorter? Should it be lengthier? What should I do? Well, if that is the case, then this video is exactly for you, because I'm going to explain in detail the advantages between getting a shorter book from a lengthier book, and by the end of this video you will know exactly the right length for your nonfiction book. So let's get it started. Hi there, this is Jordan Alexo, and welcome to another amazing and great and fantastic video where I'm going to talk about the right length for your nonfiction book. I'm going to show you the difference between getting a shorter one and also a lengthier one. And if you still haven't done it, then go right below, just click on that thumbs up, and also make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can receive on a weekly basis videos related to Kindle publishing and several ways for you to make money online. It's always a great thing that you can do today, so why not? You learn a lot in this YouTube channel. Okay, so let's talk about the right length that you should get for your Kindle publishing book. Okay, there are two different lengths that I recommend. The first one is for a shorter book, and this is about 15,000 words. Okay, this is the minimal length that I recommend for a shorter book. And this is about 80 to 100 pages for a nonfiction book, okay? It's about that size. It really depends how you format your book, the sizing for your book, and so on. So it really depends on that. And then for a lengthier book, I recommend at least 30,000 words. This is about twice the size, so it's about 160 pages to 200 pages, okay? So these are the two different sizes that I recommend for your Kindle publishing book. Now let's talk about the advantages and also the disadvantages from getting a shorter book from a lengthier book, okay? So let's start by talking about a shorter book. This is a book with 15,000 words. The reason I don't recommend a book that is shorter is because if you do a shorter book, often what happens is, I'm not saying that you cannot do money with a shorter book, but often what happens is you tend to get a lot of customers just pissed off because they thought that they would get a book with a denser book, you know, with a bit more pages, and once they get their paperback, they get their paperback. It's like a short TV guide, and what happens is your customers get mad and they go to your book and they leave a negative review. So that is the reason why I recommend at least 15,000 words. So you kind of prevent that from happening. Okay, you don't get so many customers just mad, and once you start getting a few negative reviews, it's just a really bad situation for your book, because then eventually your book just stops selling because other customers go to your book and they see some negative reviews, and you just need a few negative reviews and people start reading them, and yeah, you don't get your book. So 15,000 words is the minimal I recommend for a shorter book. Now there are a couple of advantages for a shorter book. The first one is I recommend this is in case you are in a tight budget. Okay, you don't have much money to spend on ordering books, and you can go for a shorter book, okay? Because in my case, I have a ghostwriter team, and I go to this ghostwriter team, and let's say that I want a book related to yoga. Okay, I want a book related to yoga. I go to this ghostwriter team and I order a book about yoga, about any kind of specific topic. It can be like the best 50 poses for relaxing, something like that, okay? And this ghostwriter team basically write a book about that, about anything that I want. So I don't write my own books, and if you write your own books, probably you want to write lengthier books, okay? Because lengthier books provide more content and people tend to like them more. But I mean, if you are ordering books, then of course you need to pay your team of writers, or otherwise they simply won't write for you. So if you are in a tight budget, then you can actually start with a book with 50,000 words. Okay, it's a way for you to cut costs, for you to get your feet wet when it comes to the Kindle publishing business, start getting some experience under your belt, and then you can just scale up and basically publish books that are lengthier. But at least 15,000 words is a great way if you are in a tight budget. Now, this doesn't work exactly for every specific topic in the market, okay? For example, I have over here in the Amazon store real estate. And typically, when it comes to real estate, all of these books are super lengthy. And I'm going to show to you. I'm just going to click on Kindle Spy, okay, the Spy. I actually recommend for you to get this application. It's super useful, and I'm going to leave a link just right below. Click it and you can actually get this application. As you can see, it's super useful. Just in a single click, I get all of this necessary information in a window, and it looks great. But you can quickly see by the first 20 titles, which is this page over here. What you can see is all of these books are super lengthy. Actually, probably the ABC Real Estate Investing, this is a book with about 30,000 words. Okay, so even the shortest books are far lengthier than the ones that I'm recommending for you. So it really depends. When it comes to 15,000 words, it really depends on the topic in question. It doesn't work for every single topic. And if you went and you are on a tight budget and you went and probably publish a shorter book with just 50,000 words in real estate, it probably wouldn't do it, okay? Probably people would look at your book, consider it way too short, and when people in this specific topic see a shorter book, they tend to think that probably the book doesn't offer much value, and they prefer to get a book that is lengthier because they consider it more valuable and it offers more content. And well, honestly, that is the right case. Okay, so if you're in a tight budget, then you need to select a specific topic where shorter books work, okay? It doesn't work for every single topic. And sometimes even in certain topics, like say accounting, a shorter book may work over here because there are a couple of books over here that are shorter, but you need to be smart about the topic that you choose. You can see, for example, over here, let's just wait a few seconds, but you can see that in accounting, there are a few shorter books working, such as Accounting 101, The Ultimate Guide to Financial Something, okay? So shorter books actually work over here, but you really need to be smart about the topic. You need to go and research what exactly people want when it comes to accounting books, and you need to provide a kind of a book with a different twist, with probably a more specific topic inside of that niche or inside of that accounting topic or whatever. And it needs to be a book about a more specific thing that you see that people can't find books about. There's a lack of books related to that specific topic. And yes, you can do a book that is shorter. For example, accounting, the best 30 accounting tips for you to save money, okay? As you can see, this is a book that is a listing of 30 tips for people to save money when it comes to accounting. And that could be a book that is shorter because people see a book that is a listing and they mainly assume, well, this is 30 items, probably it's not a huge book. But this only works for specific topics. For example, for real estate, you would really need to be very smart to find a way for you to produce a shorter book. Now, this is if you're on a budget. The other way for you to kind of get away with shorter books is, for example, for the cookbook niche and also for the children books niche. Okay, these are two specific niches where shorter books work really well. For example, for the children books, I mean, kids don't like to read huge books, okay? And many times when it comes to the children books, between the ages of 6 or even younger, 5 to 12 or something like that, or even younger, like 5 to 9, what happens is many times these books are read as bedtime stories by the children parents, okay? So often this can be stories that are simple, they aren't very complicated, has simple wording, and they don't need to be super lengthy. Also, the other thing that you can do to increase the length of these books is simply to add images, because I mean, this is a book for children and images make the book just a lot more enticing, more captivating, and so on. So you can add images to basically increase the length of your children's book, okay, to make it look just a bit lengthier when someone receives the book. And the other thing is with cookbooks. Cookbooks is, I actually did a lot of money with diet cookbooks. It's not working so much nowadays because, I mean, because of the pandemic, people aren't exactly searching to lose weight, at least at this point. But I did a lot of money with 15,000 word books when it comes to the diet cookbook niche. Okay, I did a lot of money and it works super well when it comes to cookbooks. And also because with cookbooks you can add a lot of images and just basically increase the sizing of your book and make it look a bit lengthier, okay? Now, when it comes to the pricing of this 15,000 word book, I usually, when it comes to the paperback, I'm not talking about the ebook, because the ebook is basically always the standard price of $2.99. But when it comes to the paperback, I usually put about $16, a bit more when it comes to that, and it always has worked well, and it always has sold me a lot of copies in that pricing range. Now, the problems about the shorter books is ACX, okay? ACX, you won't do so much money with shorter books. When it comes to a book with about 15,000 words, is about 1 to 3 hours. And this is, if you don't know, ACX is where you publish your book as an audiobook. And the amount of money that you earn in royalties really depends on the length of your book. So a lengthier book, you will earn more money, and a shorter book you will earn less money, because it's not something that you can customize. You can customize the price for your audiobooks like you do with your paperbacks inside of Kindle Direct Publishing. So it's a bit different over here. So when it comes to a 15,000 word book, it's about this range, and you can earn about $7 to $10 with each book that you sell. Okay. So when it comes to, if you are on a tight budget and you decide to publish a shorter book in a specific topic, then you won't do so much money with your audiobooks. But for example, for children books, it works really well. Of course, you won't do so much money with your audiobooks. And when it comes to cookbooks, I mean, they just don't sell that well when it comes to the audiobooks. I mean, nobody really wants to hear a recipe book in audio. Very few people really purchase them, so it's not a major concern for you to make money with your audios. You mostly do money with your paperbacks. That's where you do most of your money when it comes to cookbooks, so it's not a major concern. The other problem with shorter books is that they tend not to last so long when it comes to selling inside of Amazon. The maximum amount of time that I had my shorter books selling was about 6 to 7 months, which is quite, I mean, it's quite a fair amount of time that they keep selling well. But after that, they kind of start dropping in the number of sales and so on, and kind of die off. Okay, so this is for shorter books with about 15,000 words. It can be a bit more, okay, not a huge problem, but that is the minimum length that I recommend. Now let's talk about lengthier books with about 30,000 words. This is about 160 pages to 200 pages. Okay, this is what I recommend for you to actually get your books done when it comes to length, because you can maximize the profits that you do with each book that you sell when you have lengthier books. The first reason is simply because people look to a lengthier book and they immediately think that this book just provides a lot more value compared to a shorter book. The other thing is you don't get so many customers just jack mad, just complaining about your book being way too small and so on. And it's a fair, I mean, it's a decent length for a book, and they get the book with a decent length. So you don't get so many customers just mad about that, okay? And the other thing is you simply can dive into other niches that where books have a lot more content. Like I already said, real estate. It's not, I mean, I'm not saying for you to kind of get into this niche, because although it's very profitable, it's also very competitive. So it's extremely hard for you to get your book noticeable inside of this specific niche. But yes, you can just go into niches like certain niches about spirituality, certain topics about spirituality, relationships, business books, and so on, where you can go into those niches and be really successful because you can produce books that are lengthier. Of course, when it comes to the price, when it comes to ordering a book, it's far more expensive, so you need to have more money for you to be able to invest. The other thing that I also recommend is for you to pay your narrators upfront. That means that when, instead of doing royalty splits, if you don't know, when you are an ACX, you can actually choose to split your royalties with your narrator. That means that every time that you sell an audiobook, your narrator receives half of that money. But for you to maximize the amount of money, you should actually pay your narrators upfront and get your books into niches where audios sell really well. And I already told you which are these niches. It's the business niche, the self-help niche, the spirituality niche, the relationship niche. Those niches sell really well when it comes to audios and also paperbacks, of course. Okay, so when it comes to the price, you can also do a lot more money with your paperbacks, because you can sell your books at about $90 each copy. So you can do a lot more money with your paperbacks. So that is about the price that I set for my paperbacks with 30,000 words. I mean, that is about the price that I set, about $90 for each paperback. And also the other thing is you can do more money with your audiobooks. As you can see, this with a 30,000 word book, it's about 3 to 5 hours for an audiobook that someone has in terms of content for them to listen. And you can do between $10 to $20 for each time that you sell your audiobook. So you do a lot more money in this case. And the other thing is, once you start having multiple books inside of the same niche, let's say inside of the real estate niche, and each book has about 30,000 words, then what you can do is start combining both books and produce what we call a bundle. A bundle is basically a book where you have 1, 2, 3, or even more books together, and you sell them as a bundle. And that is where you can start doing a lot of money with your audios, because after that it passes to a new range. It passes to the 5 to 10 hours range, and as you can see, you start doing even more money. And the more you combine these books together, the more money you do with your audiobooks. So this is the main reason for you to have a lengthier book. You can get into other niches where you can produce books with more content. You can do more money with your paperback books. You have less customers complaining about the length of your book. You can also do more money with your audiobooks. Now, the main disadvantages is the one that I've already explained, is each book is a lot costlier for you to produce. It's basically twice the price of ordering a 15,000 word book. So you immediately spend a lot more money to get this type of books produced. And the other problem is, if you're a beginner, it's your first books, it's the first time that you are getting into this book business, then if you immediately go for a 30,000 word book and it kind of doesn't do well, you immediately lose a lot more money. Okay, that is one of the main disadvantages, but there's a lot more advantages when it comes to producing lengthier books. But of course, you can also go for shorter books, as I already explained, and it's also a great way for you to get started. Okay, that is all that I wanted to talk about in this video when it comes to what is the right length for your nonfiction books. If you have any question, just make sure to leave it on the comments section right below. I'll try to reply to you as soon as possible. Also, put a like on this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also if you want to get Kindle Spy, which is the software that I used before this one over here, you also have a link right below in the description from this video. That is all for now. Stay there, stay tuned with Jordan Alexo, and bye.